Infinite geometric series means it keeps going on for life. So I don't give you like to find the sum of the four terms, or sum of the first 100 terms, or sum of the first 1,000 terms. I ask you to find the sum of all the terms. It's not. Welcome to infinite geometric series. Okay, so say we have a divergent series. Okay, we're going to underline that bad boy. Divergent. If we have a highlighter, we'll highlight it. Yes. Go team. Okay. So, divergent series is one, not on, it should have an either, is one that increases indefinitely as more terms are added. So you don't get to an ultimate sum, the sum just keeps getting larger and larger and larger and larger. So an example, if I went 2 plus 4, I would be at 6, plus 8, I would be at 14, and what's going to keep happening? It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, the sum, correct? Just larger and larger and larger. That's called divergent, okay? So if it diverges, it's going to just get itself all the way to infinity. It's just going to get larger and larger and larger, correct? Positive infinity in this case. So here it says, consider 4, 8, 16, 32. So they plugged it in, and then it just keeps getting larger, larger, and larger. So this example is using the sum of the geometric series formula where the numerator and denominator have been multiplied by -1. It's slightly adjusted. But the point here is that it just keeps getting bigger. It doesn't actually reach an ultimate sum, correct? Now, what if I changed all of those to negatives? So it was like -4, -8, -16, -32. What would happen? Yeah, it would approach negative infinity. It would keep getting larger and larger and larger, correct? Those are divergent. They don't converge to anything. They diverge. They get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Right, Xander?
Yeah.
Who's going to come up here and teach because he's on his phone? Put away. Children. Some people's children. Luckily, you're nice. Just saved you. Your niceness. This one, better watch out. That shirt, tight. It's on the end of your leash at this point, right? You know what I'm saying?
I'm proud of you, son.
Okay, we have a convergent series. That's the other kind. So divergent means it just keeps getting really, really, really large negative, so it will approach negative infinity, or the sum will get really, really, really large positive and it'll approach positive infinity. Do you agree? Then there's something called convergent. Convergent series is a series that is approaching a definite limit. As more terms are added, it is a series with an infinite number of terms in which the sequence of partial sums approaches a fixed value. Okay? We're not going to do a video. But an example could be this. Okay? Let's try it out. So we're going to start with the first term being 1. I'm going to make my R value be 0.5, okay? So if it's 1, what's my next one going to be? What's 1 times 0.5? 0.5. Good answer. Now what would my next one be? 0.25. Then 125. Then 0.06. 125, and then that's where my brain halts. Okay, what would the next one be? 0.03. That. No. It would be 3.5. Okay. 0.30. 0.625. And then we times that by 0.5. And we get 0.0153125, and then we times that by 0.5, and we get 0.00765625, and then we times that by 0.5, and we get 0.0038. At this point, when I start adding these ones on, am I doing a heck of a lot? No. When I go 1 plus 0.5, let's go. 1 plus 0.5. I have a sum of 1.5. I don't know why I even typed that in. Then, as I get to this one, so that would be S2. S2 would be 1.5. We agree? What would S3 be? 1.75. And then S4? 875, yeah. And then S5? 1.93625. Then S6, 1.966875. S7, am I really changing the number a lot at this point? I'm adding 0.015312, like that. That zero's not going to affect my first number. Well, in this case, it will. It's going to help that, but I get 1.982 da 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 da. When I add plus 0.00765625, I'm at 1.9898437.5, and I keep going. Is the number changing a lot? No. There is a formula on your formula sheet that if we are converging to an ultimate sum, diverging meant it got to be really, really large, right? Negative, or really, really large positive, correct? This one, I'm adding such tiny, tiny little 0.00s to it, it's not really changing much, correct? When that happens, it's called convergent. And convergent, you can use the sum formula, which is on your formula sheet, is what I told you not to use. Now, it shows you on here, this is the actual formula. It says S equals T1 over 1 minus R. And then behind it, it says for when -1 is less, not equal to, -1 is less than R is less than 1. That's the formula on the formula sheet. Right? So what's it telling you about R? It's greater than -1 or less than 1, I can use it. What's my R in this one? That's the example that I just used. R was 0.5. Does that fall between -1 and 1? Yep, so that I can use this formula because it is convergent. When this happens, it's convergent. When your R is not between -1 and 1, it's divergent. That's it. That's all. So let's plug it in and see what we get. Instead of going along and adding these all up like I just did, let's see if we can use this formula. It should have a little infinity sign here on the formula sheet. It doesn't. So the sum to infinity, what's T1 on mine? 1 over 1 minus 0.5. Type that in. Make sure if you're not typing it in as a fraction, you have the denominator in brackets. Everyone typing it in, because some people on the test, I believe, got things wrong just because they've never typed anything in as we went along, and then realized, oops, when it came to the test. Because their work was right, but their answers were not. What should you get? 2. If you don't put in brackets, it's going to go 1 divided by 1 and then subtract 0.5, which is not 2. It's 0.5. Totally different answer. I'm completely wrong. Okay? This is 2. What were we fast approaching here? Or I guess slow approaching? 2. So you could actually sum them up as you go along and then see what it's approaching, correct? Which is 2. Or if you know that R is between -1 and 1, you can just plug into the formula because it's convergent, right? Does that make sense? Okay. We're going to bypass the next 2 pages because we're on a Friday and we're on a short-term thing. But here's the formula for it, the formula summary. But we're going to go here. So here it says, state whether each infinite geometric series is convergent, which I gave you a hint here. Convergent is between -1 and 1, or divergent, not between those. So what am I going to have to find if they don't give it to me? R. So A and B, it's given to me. A, is it convergent or divergent? It's divergent because R is greater than 1. It's divergent. Is the number going to go to positive infinity or negative infinity? We're starting at negative 3 and we're multiplying by what? 4. So we're going to have negative 3, then negative 12, then negative 48. So is the number going to reach positive or negative infinity? Negative infinity. It's getting really, really, really large negative. Right? Okay, B. Convergent or divergent? Convergent, because negative 1 is less than r is less than 1. Negative a quarter is negative 0.25, correct? And that falls between negative 1 and 1. So basically any negative number less than a 1, any negative number, any positive number less than 1. So like 0.75, 0.86, 0.98, then the negative 0.8, 0.98 would work, yeah.
If your R, can R be 1?
No. If r is 1, it's not changing because you're just multiplying by 1. So then it wouldn't be geometric because it would be like 4 times 1, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Yeah. And if it's negative 1, it's not geometric either. It could be 4, negative 4, 4, negative 4, 4, negative 4. Okay? So this one here is convergent. I want you to do these two. You're first going to have to find r. So for this one, r is going to equal 25 divided by 125, which is 1 over 5. Does 1/5 fall between negative 1 and 1? Yeah, it's 0.2, correct? So this is convergent or divergent? Convergent. Because it converges to a sum. Because negative 1 is less than r is less than 1. Okay. This one. R is negative 4 divided by negative 2. What's that? 2. You can also look at this and you go negative 2 plus negative 4 plus negative 8. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger negative, correct? So we know our r is greater than 1, sorry, in this case. So it is divergent. What's it going to get closer and closer to? Negative infinity, yeah. Example 2. Determine the sum of each. And it's infinite. So if we're doing the sum of an infinite series, we have to use the sum of an infinite series formula. So S infinite equals T1 over 1 minus R. What's T1? Well, it gives it to us in this one. Negative 4 over 1 minus 4/5. Everyone type it in. Remember, the only way your calculator knows something is a fraction is by putting it in brackets or using the fraction button. You want to type it in? Yeah. No, there's not. Negative 4 over 1 minus 4/5.
Oh, no, that's the term.
Yes, that's term 1. I get what you're saying.
That looks pretty just going past.
It's subscript. Boy did well on this test. That's all I have to say. Okay, what do you get? Negative 2. I feel like you should be able to tell me what the next one is. It's negative 20. Everyone type it into your calculator. That includes you, Ted Tell.
I don't have mine.
Now you're going all the way. Because I don't have them. Okay. You guys are going to do B, C, and D. Go. Don't worry about D. Do B and C. Good enough for me. Wow, I just rhymed. So, R equals negative 5/9 divided by 5/3. What did you get? You should have gotten negative what? I don't know why I put in brackets. I'm going to keep writing.
Which one?
You should have gotten negative 1 over 3.
Oh, I think it.
Negative 1/3. Everyone's typing in your fractions, because if people can do fractions, their test marks would have been substantially better. Can we type it in? These fancy calculators, they're really expensive. We're going to use them. And go.
Wait, don't I have to put
What? Put them in brackets.
all of them?
Well, the fractions in brackets. Not the big brackets. Those big brackets are stupid. Don't put them there. I don't know why I put them there. I just put one, so I just closed it with the others. I was too lazy to erase the first one. That's really what happened. So you're going to type negative 5 divided by 9 in brackets. Divided by... Are you saying you're talking to yourself? You're talking to Petra. And then 5 divided by 3 in brackets. You got that? Did you get negative 1/3? Did you get negative 1/3? Did you get negative... I don't know what I said to you. Non-smile. Smile and wave. Okay. So, did everyone get that? Yes? Okay. S infinity equals T1, which is 5/3, divided by 1 minus 1/3. Get typing. Put your fractions in brackets. If you want to put this all in at once, what does your denominator need to be in? Brackets. Not probably, it does. Go with what you thought. It has to go in brackets. If not, your calculator will do order of operations. And it will do 5/3 divided by 1, and then take that answer and minus the third, which is not what we want it to do. So we always put our denominator in brackets, typing it in, every single one, and then math enter entering it. And then I'm going to come over and see if you got it right. Minus. You put negative and negative.
Yeah.
E minus, E minus. There you go. That's why yesterday was hard.
Yep.
Practice.
I got to put 5 in I did one. I just put a little bit of bracket, yeah, 2 in the shell bracket, and then 1 on the bracket.
Jay-Z and Sunny Left.
Oh, yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, because she didn't use her line, my mom. Yeah, I
Write it down right. Look at that. It's 1 minus negative 1/3. There should be a negative sign. Retype. So you can got it right. Negative 1/3. Type it in.
Yeah.
Use the alpha one. I don't know what you're doing. You just walked out. Hey, listen. Hey, yeah, I can tell. You're gonna listen all the time.
Oh, I know what I do now.
So you'd have a good mark.
Okay, no, I think you're correct. But it's negative 1/3.
You got it? Awfully close. I got nothing at this point. It's just fun because I'm old. Okay, do you see how they're in brackets, my friends? Yeah, look right up there. Right up there, okay. That's, what is that? What is that? Self-management.
I had put right thinking and then I realized.
Try again.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what I got. Wait, I'm just trying to find out. I got a little happy and so just
Now you have yours. Where's yours? No.
No.
It needs to be negative 1/3. That's usually take this.
No, is it just that then?
That's physics, dude.
What? Physics, you need so many brackets.
Physics is
Where's your work?
right, Tyball? Physics is stupid.
It's not that bad.
It's pretty stupid.
No.
I can't stand God. I was good on the chemistry.
88. I think I'm pretty
Oh,
good.
God, you got 88. I also.
Where's yours?
I also got
You
that.
got 88.
Run error.
It's so bad. Compared to all the other ones.
80 really isn't that bad.
Stupid. I literally got 100 on all the other ones.
No, that
And then
This one says the first term in an infinite geometric series. So the moment I see infinite geometric series, I say S infinite equals T1 over 1 minus R. I'm going to use that formula. Now it says the infinite sum, the first term in it is negative 8. So I'm going to go T1 equals negative 8. And the sum, S infinite, it's not Sn, it's S infinite, equals negative 4D over 3. And then they want, what is the common ratio? So we're still just going to use the infinite. What are you doing? Sure. We're going to use the infinite sum. You can just keep it. No, do not break your pencil. Who are you? There's a sharpener behind you. You need to walk far. It's an electric sharpener. I can't. That totally wasn't, so I can see why the sharpener was the problem. Okay, so we're going to use the infinite formula. We have S infinite equals T1 over 1 minus R. And then we're going to fill in what we know. So for the infinite formula, we only have 3 unknowns total. So we always have to know 2, and then we can find 1, correct? So it's less. So S infinity is negative 40 over 3 equals T1, which is negative 8, over 1 minus R. Now this is the step after this where things go awry. Awry. 25-cent word. Maybe 50 with inflation. All right. So, my word. He said, so we have 1 minus R. I used awry, and he said that was a really good word. And then I said a 25-cent word, and I said, no, it was inflation, probably 50 cents.
Did you see 50 cents?
No, I missed the halftime show.
$2. Like dying. It was like,
Yeah,
he was so big. He was peeled.
He's built. He's been bulking. Okay, so what we're going to do, this is where people don't know what to do and then get stuck. So we need 1 minus R in the denominator. We can't just take R away from the denominator. We need to get the whole denominator to move. So what we're going to do is how do we get, this is a division, how do we get that to move? Multiply. So we're going to multiply it up. And then how do we get the negative 40 over 3 to move? Divide. So technically what we're end up actually doing is swapping these two. Because we're going to multiply by 1 minus R, and then we're going to divide by negative 40 over 3. So we end up swapping. So if people can get to that step, they're better. Yes, once we've done physics and chemistry, and then we're in 20-1 second semester, it makes my life easier because you've learned this math skill. Yeah. Okay, so we go 1 minus R equals negative 8 over, in brackets, negative 40 divided by 3. Okay? So type that in and reduce it first. We're going to leave that for now. We're just going to type in this fraction so that you don't have a really awful fraction after this. We're going to do that in the middle step. So to get rid of the top. So we get 24 over 40, which reduces to 6 over 10, which reduces to 3 over 5. So type this in, and it will get you 1 minus R equals 3/5. Now we have to get r by itself. What are we going to do? Minus the 1. This is a plus 1. Now I have negative r equals, and what's 3/5 minus 1? Negative 3/5. This can be negative 5/5. Right? And then how do I get r by itself? Because it still has a negative 1 beside it. Times with negative 1, or you can divide by negative 1. Either way. Just basically change the sign of the other side, right? Okay. Do the try. So we have 10 over 3 equals 5 over 1 minus r. Then we have to swap. So we get 1 minus r equals 5 divided by 10 over 3. 1 minus r equals 5 times 3 over 10. You're going to just type it in. It's fine. It'll get you 8 over 10 or 4 over 5. So we're going to get 1 minus r equals 4/5 is what you should have gotten after this step. Subtract 1. R equals negative 1/5. Negative r, sorry. Divide by negative 1. And r equals 1/5.
Are you times the budget?
Oh, it's 15 over 10. I did multiply, just not correctly. I went 8. You multiply because when you divide by a fraction, you invert and multiply. So I'm dividing by 10/3. It would be multiplying by 3/10. But you could just type this
Yeah,
in,
so it'll be 1.5.
which is better known as
1 and
3 over 2.
2, yeah.
That's still.
Subtract 1. Negative r equals 0.5. R equals negative 0.5. So we finished the unit before the break. I'm not making you have homework on this. You can enjoy your break.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.